I have suspended my lee sticks so that they won't flop around once I cut all of my ties. Then if you've put your ties in with bows, you can just undo the ones just around your cross. If they get tangled, you can cut them. Be careful to not cut your warp. When you're making your warp, it's always a good idea to use ties that are not the same color as your warp. There should be 5 ties around your cross. That's 4, misses 5, and then I also have another one up where the loop was. I'll take that one out too. Now you want to find the center of your loom because you want your warp to be centered. My warp is 8 inches wide. I'm going to find the center of my loom. My loom is 31 inches, so that would be 15 and a half. My raddle is actually centered. Then I'm going to take, there's a little mark right there, that's the center of my raddle. I'm going to take this and measure over, decide which side I want it to start on. I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to measure over half the width of my warp. Slide my tube to there. And now I am ready to start putting my warp into my raddle. When you are counting your warp, make sure that you are counting just from the cross. You don't count up here. Up here, the yarns are all tangled and not in correct order. The only place they're in correct order is right at the cross. So I am going to count. And how many do I count in each space? That depends on how many ends per inch you have. And you should have that on your warp calculation sheet. Here, my warp calculation sheet says I have 14 ends per inch, and so I will want to put 7 in each of these spaces. These are half-inch spaces. So I'm counting at the cross. If I pull and give a little bit of a tightness to the pieces of yarn just below, I can count very easily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I separate that bundle. I put it in that first space, move my tube over one space, count the next, again counting between the sticks where the cross is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Separate that bundle, lay it in. If you have ran 2 pieces of yarn together at some point, don't separate them, put them in to the same space in the raddle, because they might get twisted and caught on each other, and they might break when they go through the raddle when you're winding on, because you're winding on under tension and you will not feel it. Still try to maintain the same number of ends per inch. So if I had run these 2 at a time, I would put 6 in one space and 8 in the other, and that's still 14 ends per inch. Continue to do that until you've spread your entire warp in your raddle.